What I'm going to be painting here today is a enlarged version of the painting that's in the upper left corner of the frame here. I'm starting by showing you how I mix my colors. I have these are Gamblin paints except for the yellow, and that is Georgian by De La Rowney. I used that for many years. I like it. It's very soft and buttery, easy to mix with, and it's affordable. But since I'm trying to upgrade, I'm going to try out these Gamblin paints. I've got burnt sienna, transparent orange, sap green, chrome yellow is the Georgian, alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue, and I've got titanium zinc white off in the corner there. I don't arrange any of this in any special order, just not that orderly, and for me it isn't all that important. And I'm going to start by showing you how I mix the colors for this painting. I've chosen one that the colors are pretty basic. The scene is very high contrast, and I should be able to get it on the big canvas in a relatively short amount of time. So let's get started. So what we're starting with here is this is a product by Gamblin called Neo Megilp, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It's just kind of a funny word. It's a product that I just started to try a couple of weeks ago, and a friend of mine, Morgan Samuel Price, who some of you might know, she's a wonderful painter. She represents the company, and she gave me a sample to try, and it increases the fluidity of the paint, and the way I've been painting lately is a little bit more like watercolor, actually. I like the real juicy paint. I like the way it goes on real fluid. So I'm going to give this a try. Now what I'm realizing here with this Gamblin is the burnt sienna is quite thick. As an earth color, it's going to dry much faster, and it's quite opaque. So what I'm going to do is, to approximate that color, that hue, I'm going to mix the transparent orange and some alizarin crimson and see what I come up with, because I'm looking for a nice transparent base for the painting. So I have my medium here. I'm going to pull some alizarin, and I'm going to pull some transparent orange and mix these together. And I can see already that I'm getting a nice juicy transparent glow that I'm going to want. Pull some more. Move forward with this since I know I'm going to like it. Very important for me to mix enough of this stuff that I don't have to stop in the middle of my painting, or that I can stop as infrequently as possible, because I'm one of those painters that I'm very spontaneous, and once I get going, if there's an interruption, it breaks my concentration and everything goes south. I like to paint quick and with my first impressions. I do paint in the studio sometimes, but I don't know, my paintings just lose their freshness, and it's best for me to stick outside. So you'll see that this color here is quite a bit like the burnt sienna, and I'm happy with it. It's probably not enough for the size that we're going up here. We're going from a 4x4 inch painting all the way up to right around 3x3 feet. So I know I need to mix more of this. Okay, we're going to move on to our green now. I put a little more pigment out because, again, I don't like to have to stop in the middle of something. So I've pulled out some sap green, and this is my first time using Gamblin sap green, and I like the consistency. Sometimes I find I have in the past found Gamblin a little too pasty for what I really want to go for, but it seems that mixed with this Neo Megilp stuff, it's a beautiful flow, and there's good transparency there. Now I'm going for this green here. It's a dark warmish green, in keeping with color harmony, I'm going to pull a little of the burnt sienna looking mixture here into it. And this is just going to, these are complementary colors, and what's going to happen here is it's going to dull out a little bit, but it's going to keep its richness because both mixtures are quite transparent. It's giving us a really beautiful dark color to work with. This color is going to be the darkest color on the painting. I need more of it, so I'm pulling out some more sap green. You see how much cooler that is by itself. And pasty too, you see that? Versus this. Okay. So we need some more of our medium. I always keep my knife perfectly spotless. It's about the only thing that's spotless because I'm a messy painter. But it's important for me to keep my pigment clean. So I'm going to pull some more here. I know I like the color, I like where we're going with this, so I'm going to keep moving with it. I paint fast to keep my energy up. Once I lose my energy again, everything just goes south for me. And this is okay that it's not entirely completely mixed in, because it's going to give some beautiful, you know, swirly type looking stuff. Okay, I'm going to move on now. I'm going for this lighter green color here. Now normally I would have used some yellow ochre, but I didn't have any. I'm completely out of it, so what I'm going to do is mix this color with the chrome yellow, some of this green that I just mixed, and quite a lot of white. There's differing opinions on white. It can make things chalky. Well, it does make things chalky. It's not that it can, it actually does. But I haven't gotten good enough yet at mixing colors lighter in value from just more brilliant, more highly saturated pigments mixed with the darker ones. So I'm afraid I rely on white quite a lot. So let's get some of our chrome yellow in here, mix it in, see where we're at. That's really beautiful. I'm loving that. It's not as dull a mixture as it would be with the yellow ochre. The yellow ochre, most times I'm finding with all brands really, the yellow ochre is quite a thick paint. And it dries very fast. See, now this has a little bit more orange in it. So I'm gonna pull from that. It's beautiful. Beautiful nature foliage grass green. Liking that. Now, another thing too is when you get this dark, sometimes you can't really tell what hue is there. Anytime you mix a little bit of white in with another color, you can see the true color. You see a tint of it. Okay, now you see here, this is a very, very warm, I'm not even sure this would be called green anymore, but it's close to what I have there. It's quite thick, not as transparent as I might like, which is okay. Mainly I like the transparency through the base colors. But I'm going to add a little of the medium here. Again, this is Neo Megilp. You see it gives it a nice juicy consistency, which I love. When I paint on the small paintings like this, this is a very smooth linen canvas, and I'm not remembering now. I think it's Centurion, and I get it in the canvas pad. I think the size is 16 by 20, and I cut it up and I secure it down to a very sturdy multimedia board. And of course, now I don't remember the name of it, but it's very slick, although it does have some texture and it does hold the paint quite well. The canvas I'm going up to over here is something that I prepared myself, which I will never do again because it's very time consuming and just as costly as buying it ready to go. But both of these are linen canvases, and what I'm getting at is the one I prepared myself, the surface is quite absorbent. So I'm not sure. I got a feeling I'm probably not going to have enough paint here. But we're going to give it a go. Okay, I spent some time off camera mixing some more of that lighter green. I don't want to use up all the camera time showing you how I mix here, but it is an important part of what I do. And again, a lot of you have asked me, I really am not an orderly, organized painter, although after doing this for several years, I suppose there is some organization to it, but I'm usually in a hurry, and right now it looks as though it's going to rain. And of course, I'm doing this here in my backyard because it's still hot out here in Florida, and it's just getting too old to be out there in that heat. So what I'm doing right now is I've got alizarin crimson out here along with the beautiful transparent orange, which I gotta say I'm loving. I'm really loving these colors, and the Gamblin is sometimes way more than even twice as much as the Georgian, but I'm told over and over again by more accomplished artists that I really needed to upgrade the quality of my materials. So I'm hoping if the painting sells, it'll pay for all the supplies. So at any rate, what I'm doing here is I got a mauve color underneath there. And so I'm mixing this, getting this ready to go. And again, I'm going to need more than that. I know it, especially when I have to work fast. I need to make sure that the preparation is thorough so I don't get interrupted. Also, I've noticed that with the Georgian, they tend to, once they dry on the canvas, the paintings look quite a bit darker than what I thought they were going to be. So I have to compensate for that. Somewhat, I'm learning how to do that. I'm still not quite on target with it, but I'm also told by others that all of the oil paint dries darker. So maybe that's just something I'm going to have to deal with and learn how to work with. Alright, now, I don't think I mentioned, this is titanium zinc white mixture by Gamblin. Again, this is my first time painting with it. I've always loved the soft mixing white from the Georgian brand. But again, I wanted to upgrade the materials here and see what I get. Again, you see I'm cleaning my knife very thoroughly. Still out a little bit more of this. Get on with this palette preparation. You can see, sometimes I like to go really syrupy. See how that just drips right off in there? Love it. Love it, love it. Mixing fast. I usually mix this fast even when I'm not in any kind of hurry. Again, I just do better doing things more spontaneously. Leave this over. That's ready to go. This here is pretty much straight from the tube orange. I'm going to wait on this because this is really towards the end. So I've got my dark green base mixed. I have my lighter green. I've got my mauve color here. And on this little painting, this is the white of the canvas. These were mixed whites. What I'm going to do is wait until the end to paint the white in. And my palette, you see that the palette is huge, and I do use gobs and gobs of paint. Most people are shocked when they see this. But I'm going to wait until towards the end to do my white paint mixtures for the lighter values because I want to get started on this and show you how I do it. So let's move. Okay, so now we're here and we're going to transfer up onto the big painting. And Oh, I didn't show you this before. This is my favorite knife, and I use this for just about everything. I mix the paint with it, and I paint the paintings with it, and I always paint the small paintings with it, and pretty often I find myself doing most of the big paintings with it, although, you know, this guy is much better. I wish they made something like this much more large scale. Sometimes I use the plastic putty knives that you can get at Walmart. But this is what I have today, so this is what I'm going to use. Now, I started with mixing these nice dark colors here. I'm going to go ahead and lay in my darks. Basically what I have here is 3 dark masses of, you know, different size shapes, and then I'm going to keep in mind that I've also got 3 lighter value masses. So let's get going here. See how much paint is getting put on here, and I'm picking it up from the palette really quick. I'm probably going to have to stop at some point while I'm painting here to mix some more. Stay out of the way of the beautiful glow there. Beautiful glow with the transparent orange and the alizarin. Now, I have to remind myself when I'm painting. Quite often I do pull down, up and down, but for variety's sake, it's important to also go back and forth and diagonal, and I like to paint very freely. When I'm large like this, it's mostly movement from my shoulder. Of course, when I get smaller, this is much harder. The smaller paintings are harder for me because I don't have this free movement like I do when I'm painting big. I have to be much more you know, limited in my movement, and I'll demo that probably next week, or I mean next month. Yeah, I'm going to have to mix more paint here. Reference painting is up there. And I don't usually work on stretched canvas. I'm usually on a nice solid piece of multimedia board, but I haven't created a canvas on multimedia board this big because I worry about the warping. Of course, with this stretched canvas, when I press, like this line right here, I think that's from the bar in the back. Gotta be kind of careful because I don't want that showing through. Yeah, I'm out of green already. Now, if I'm going to stick with these more expensive paints, obviously I'm going to have to be more sparing in my use. liking how this Gamblin paint is looking. I gotta step way back and see where I'm at here. Zoom in so y'all can see where things are going. See that beautiful transparent? And from here it looks like there's a lot of texture showing through. And we'll zoom in on the top there so you can see the transparency of the red. Alright, at this point I need to mix more paint, so I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll be back. Okay, I've mixed some more color here, and let me get back into this. I've switched to the smaller knife, and what I'm looking at now on my reference painting is these bright orange areas here of color. Now, I'm not a literal painter. I've been a medical illustrator for 20 years, and I love my job doing that, but it's been very limiting, I'm going to say, very tight measure. And so when I discovered palette knives and started painting, I just wanted a lot more freedom in what I do. So that's a beautiful glow there. That's that transparent orange from Gamblin. Yeah, I'm loving that. Really digging that. Alright. I need to get some more of my darker green here. Start defining the shapes of the where the white flowers are going to come through. Put this all down. Start to knock down some of the white of the canvas because it can be very distracting. Different ways you can get paint on the canvas, of course. Just see, I used the rag to clean up some there, and look at how pretty that is. I don't know if you can see it. Actually, see how much we can move the paint around with this. Oh, that's cool. This is all experimentation here, so this is not how I usually paint. But boy, oh boy, is that cool. This medium here I told you about, the Neo Megil, smells a lot like if you were staining furniture. Do this to soften the edges of where the whites are going to be. Lost my little reference painting and things fell over here. Oh, I'm liking that. Very expressionistic. Moving closer so you can see what we got. Got a lot of bit of reflected light on these areas coming from above. Okay. I'm going to turn this off and get everything back in order. Okay, everything is back up, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and start in with this, the lighter greens down here. What I noticed when I took a break was the three shapes here, the three light value shapes are all pretty much, they take up the same space, which is not, it doesn't make for, you know, the best composition. So after I do this, I'm going to go ahead and get these whites worked out a little better compositionally. So let's go ahead, wipe our knife very clean here. This is the beauty of knives; they clean so much faster than brushes. I'm gonna load this up. This is how much paint is on there, and I'm just gonna start laying it in, just like the other. Obviously you can see this is much less, in fact this is not transparent at all, and this is because it has white in it. This titanium zinc white is a good medium between the zinc white, which from what I understand is the most transparent, to titanium white, which is the most universally used. Important to keep the movement going. That's why I love this stage of paintings. They have so much expression and so much passion in them. And this is, you know, this is partly why I paint fast, or probably entirely why I paint fast, because I'm still feeling it. It hasn't died yet. Now I'm going to go in and pull some of this lighter color in through the darks and see what happens. I'm always squinting. In fact, it's gotten to be such a habit that a lot of times by the end of a session my eyes are aching so bad that I do it automatically now. Whenever I'm trying to see something in the bigger picture. I think in most people's paintings, unless you're painting photographically, there comes a point in time when you're not responding anymore to the reference in front of you. Now you're responding to what you've already put down, and that's the beauty of painting. It's just, I love to paint. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is try and readjust the whites. I've got to find a clean spot on this cloth. It looks like it's going to rain here pretty quick, which is par for the course. Now, you know, when I said whites, what I really meant to say was, I said whites, I meant to say light value, because we're not really going to have white paint down here in the end, except for a few of canvas areas that are going to show through. What we're going to have is relative values. Well, that looks more like a dandelion. This little painting was originally inspired by my memory of peonies, which is my favorite bush. I'm from up north, and peonies are, you know, they are a popular flower up north. They don't grow down here in Florida. But a lot of times now I work from memory. And I start with the inspiration that's in front of me when I'm painting outside, and I pull, because I'm not such a literal painter, I pull from my memory a lot. that's okay. Shoot. Keep going. Don't let those things bother you. Go. Okay, the whites are still kind of the same size. I need this a little bit more, a little bigger in here. And this needs to be a little bigger. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to try with this medium. I'm just going to put it straight on here and see what happens. See how much I can lift up. A bit. Sound like Bob Ross here. Happy little painting. Okay. This really is the smallest light mass. And right now on my painting it's the biggest. So I gotta bring this down. Use that stretcher bar. Oh shoot, okay, here's the deal. It's going to rain and the reference painting is going to come down and I'm just going to start going with this thing. Hey, by the way, I'm really digging this rag. This is moving the paint around a lot more than, let's see, it's more efficient. I'm using, you know, I'm not wasting so much paint. So I'm really liking this. It's giving me a nice glow. And it's just about time now to mix my whites. So I'm going to turn this off. Okay, the rain has subsided a little bit here, so I want to start showing you. Now again, this is the white of the canvas, which I actually love. There are some differences of opinion about whether that is really painting or not, but at any rate, I'm going to show you, since this is bare canvas here, I think I'm going to leave that bare for now, and I'm also going to show you how I would paint in the lighter areas. So what I have here is a mixture of the white and mauve color that I had mixed earlier. See how light that is in comparison. So these are going to be, this is the heavier impasto areas. And this right here. Bring this over. There's going to be a sparkle. A little bit. That's enough background. What I'm doing here, when you keep seeing me do this, I'm using my hand to block out areas that are distracting to me while I'm trying to assess a smaller area. slow down a little. Okay, I've decided to go ahead and into this. You had a chance to see what it looks like there, but I feel like it really needs to be painted.